There is no turning back the clock, but we're going to do just that in today's video, going back to the 2021 draft and redrafting everybody in the first round. And there might be some surprises and some well-adjusted upgrades here to people's draft selections. But let's get into it and see what is going to happen. What's up, it's your boy Cintron, come back at you another analysis and maybe news video today. But I kid you not, that's my real name. Maybe no news. But anyways, we'll get into it. 2021 NFL redraft. Zach Wilson falls out of the first round and Micah Parsons rises. So let's see where they go. All right, no surprise here. Trevor Lawrence stays with the Jacksonville Jaguars. They wisely pick up the quarterback who brought them back from a 5-pick self-inflicted wound to a win over the Chargers in the wild card in last year's playoffs in 2022. And yeah, man, great guy, great pickup. And minus the Urban Meyer, he has been a revelation for them, looking more the part of the number one overall pick this past year, working with the guru, Doug Peterson, who guided the Eagles to their only Super Bowl victory thus far. But yeah, man, the guy's a quarterback whisperer, but he had the tools and the requisite talent to get it done. He just needed to be with a coach that could coach him up properly. So the future looks bright and Duval, and we'll see what else he has to offer to the NFL. But the arrow is right now ticking up. Next, you can see the New York Jets selected Micah Parsons. Man, can you think about that? Quinnen Williams and Micah Parsons sharing the same field. It'd be a terror for quarterbacks. And it should have been, but they went with Zach Wilson, who obviously is being replaced right now with Aaron Rodgers in Gotham City. But, it's a shame that they, went so high on a quarterback with, potential, but couldn't see what, lied right in front of the face. I mean, it's 2020 vision, of course, but that being said, it's sad to see the route that, Zach Wilson's progression has taken. He's been immature and was replaced by Mike Wilson last year. And Mike White last year played much better than him, and he has less talent. But that being said, in the NFL, it's not all about talent. It's about being able to play from the neck up. And right now, Zach's head isn't in the game. All right, Justin Fields goes over Trey Lance. So yeah, this is a horrible pick. I was like, what are they looking at this quarterback? And coming out of North Dakota State, and it's been injury luck. He hasn't been healthy the past couple of years. But that being said, Justin Fields looked like the more dynamic guy. But they were maybe too worried about him being too simplistic in his reads and looking to be run first. But it's worked out thus far for the Bears, and I think he's going to only continue to elevate. It'll be interesting to see what he does with the bevy of weapons. They brought him in last year with Chase Claypool, and this year bringing DJ Moore in from the Panthers in that dynamic trade to get them down. Get them up to number one to get Bryce Young. So, yeah, the Panthers, Bryce Young, sorry, and to get the Bears, some draft capital. But yeah, I think, man, San Francisco would have been dynamic with Justin Fields, but we will never see that iteration of that team. And I'm happy to say that. Atlanta Falcons, Jamar Chase, yeah, man. They've hit Kyle Pitts, but, you'd want to have a dynamic guy on the outside versus the inside. And don't get me wrong, Kyle Pitts had a 1,000-yard season his first year. It looked to be dynamic, but at the end of the day, he still is a tight end, and he could use a dynamo to go with him, and that's why they drafted Drake London this year. But they could have avoided that by going with Jamar Chase and having a groundbreaking wide receiver. But albeit you might not have had somebody getting the ball, but, man, can you think about him playing with Bijan Robinson in the same offense? How dynamic it would be. Cincinnati Bengals, Rashawn Slater. Yeah, they would have gone with a guy that might have had them playing in the Super Bowl versus getting bowing out in the chip. He's been A+ talent since he started. Since day one for the Chargers, and you got to believe them overlooking him maybe because he came from a smarter program like Northwestern. But they got to be kicking themselves over the fact that he's developed into a top 5 tackle in the league, and they're stuck with guys who have to be shifted to the right side because you're bringing in your rival's starting tackle in Orlando Brown to start. But hey, man, not everybody can get it right. But apparently the Dolphins wanted to correct their pick with picking DeVonta Smith here. They picked Jalen Waddle, so they picked the other Alabama wide receiver. This one won the Heisman. The last one was, just a 4.3. Yeah, just a 4.3 guy. Caught 100 balls his first year, and then, had 1,300 this past year. So not bad at all. Actually, the superior numbers to Smith right now, but it's telling that they would most likely select him if, looking back on it, because the knock on Smith was definitely his size, him having a wiry frame, but the guy's been nothing but tough as nails since he came into the league, making this past year acrobatic catches, getting crushed and crunched between two defenders, but coming down the ball and skying above guys despite his thin frame and coming down with jump balls like he did in the Redskins game, back-to-back receptions with the latter, going for a touchdown. But yeah, man, I think they would definitely select him. But hey, man, I'm interested to see who the Eagles would pick now that he's off the board. Probably Jalen Waddle. Penny Sewell. He's been, he's been a good right tackle for them. He's growing in his game and still getting more comfortable. But he's settling in like that. They have like a top 5 projected O-line in the league this year, and he's a big part of that. The guy just heavy hands and good technique. But like people looking at him as an Oregon product, glad or you can see at least the Detroit Lions are glad they didn't overlook him coming out of a non-ballyhooed program. All right, Patrick Surtain over J.C. Horn. This one just has to do with health. J.C. Horn has all the measurables. He's a tall guy out there, 6 foot plus, close to 200-pound guy, if not a 200-pound guy. Runs a 4.3, but the wheels are just bad. He's dealt with like a broken foot this past year, and then this ankle injury now that's got him out spending time on the sidelines and in the locker room during OTAs, and now has to wait to get acclimated to get healthy to be able to play in training camp. So it's looking kind of sketchy. But Pat Surtain has been the top cover corner in Denver since he's been there. And they definitely would swap out now if they could, look at it. But it chose the wrong ACC guy. Didn't value Pat Surtain. But hey, sometimes you just, some of these are like, just a tale of two coins, or a tale of two tales, tale of two stories, because you just can't know that a guy's gonna have bad injury luck, and nobody saw like him coming out of South Carolina. But it just draft is still a gamble. All right, Trey Lance goes to the Denver Broncos, and they pick Surtain. So this is a guy that they have best out there. Who knows? They might not have made that trade for Russell Wilson if they had Trey Lance there. So might have worked out for them, but we don't know. There's so much unknown in there because we haven't seen Trey Lance take more than a game full of snaps, and he didn't even finish the first game. He started last season before he went out with the ankle injury. So. All right, Dallas Cowboys, Christian Darrisaw, O-tackle out of Virginia Tech. And he's a solid guy. They're just making the most of, we weren't even picking at the slot originally. But, hey, thank you, Dallas. Appreciate you. They could have, been used. They're trying to build that old line back. And they had, Tyler Smith and Tyron Smith. But who says they pick, Tyler Smith if they pick Christian Darrisaw here, be a solid O-tackle for them, and they maybe wouldn't have to, have dealt with so much of that shuffling there on the O-line. But who knows? They might have picked the Tyron to be the eventual successor, and they could have, slid Tyron in at guard somewhere and had, a better O-line and better depth as well, instead of picking up our leftovers like Jason Peters. Just had to add that barb in there. All right, New York selects Kyle Pitts, so they wouldn't have traded for Darren Waller this past offseason. They would have had this guy, and he would have been a baller, for them. But I'm so glad that they didn't, so that we could have Kyle Pitts, shining down in the South, and then them struggling, the Giants as a unit. But Darren Waller would do wonders for them, but he's still just a tight end, and even if he's getting the majority of receptions, whatever, Eagles are not going to let him beat us solely. So I love it. excellent ineptitude. All right, so the Philadelphia Eagles selected here Tyson Campbell. I don't know if I agree with this pick. He's a solid corner, but man, we might not have got James Bradbury and things turned out how they did. And yeah, man, he was a second round pick. I believe a solid guy, but I don't know, man. I think I would go with Waddle here over this guy, because granted, I mean, of course, it's 20. I say it's 2020. Maybe we could have known that things would work out. The Giants would foolishly release James Bradbury, and we can just pick him up for nothing, and he'd be go on to be become a second team All Pro for us. But I mean, you could say it's a solid pick. I just prefer Waddle, and the Chargers definitely agree because they select Waddle here, and tackles off the field, off the board, but they get a receiver to play off of Allen and to play in the slot as well, most likely with Mike Williams being there. And it gives them a solid trio of receivers that could, terrorize the league with different skill sets. And Keenan Allen, that's his name. Creed Humphrey, man, the Minnesota Vikings would do this over in a heartbeat. And he was first team All Pro last year, and I would say the second best center in the league to me, behind Jason Kelsey, but quickly ascending talent. I mean, he doesn't have too far to go. He's got the size, and he's strong as hell. Great technique, and the guy's just tenacious. So, be an upgrade for that porous Vikings offensive line. And I don't know about this, man. Patriots going with Mac Jones again. Yeah, I mean, he kind of had a down year, and he showed immaturity issues. But and he did have a decent freshman year. Rookie year, but I'm unsure, especially from what I seen last year, that he'd be the answer. I don't know who else is in this draft that they would select at quarterback, but maybe just go a different route and just bring a familiar face like Garoppolo or someone like that, because I don't think he's gonna produce this year either, but time will tell. Amon-Ra St. Brown, they could have maybe avoided the other Brown. That they brought in from the Ravens, and just got this guy in. Of course, like I said, this is buyer's remorse. And Zayvon Collins, was their pick. He had the athleticism, but he just hasn't shown up. But this guy, he's really building himself up as a solid wide receiver for the Lions, and he had a 1,000-yard season this past season. So he's on the up and up, and he's highly underrated. All right, the Las Vegas Raiders picked Jalen Phillips out of Miami. They picked Alex Leatherwood. Don't even know who he is, but man, this guy's been growing, getting pressure off the edge. He has thick thighs. Pause. No homo. But he's building up solidly in Miami. He stayed in Miami to be a pass rushing threat. Man, he had like 8 sacks this past year, and he's only going to continue to get better. Young guy too. All right, Miami Dolphins select Asante Samuel Jr., the successor to Asante Samuel. So man, this guy is just talented. He has a talent a knack for like his dad, for cluing in and reading quarterbacks. He's a cover 3 corner, and I think he would do well, at least even in the slot, to play alongside. They wouldn't have had to go with Byron Jones, that they signed a big free agent contract to, but he just could never stay healthy, and it was a bust for them. But he would play nicely with Xavier Woods. I mean, they do 2 ball hawking corners. Think about that in Miami. All right, the Washington Commanders, Nick Bolton. I mean, decent pick instead of Jamin Davis. I mean, not even decent pick. This guy is talented. He's just a heat-seeking missile. Fast, he plays fast, and he just reads it and diagnoses like lightning. And he gets there. I think he led the NFL in tackles like 180. So he was just a beast, In the Super Bowl, he showed up blitzing and just getting quickly there, game tackling. Guy's just a heat-seeking missile. Jamin Davis hasn't done in the league. All right, Landon Dickerson, the Chicago Bears get him. Injury worries were the concern here, but the Giants picked via trade Kadarius Toney. But yeah, definitely. I mean, Tony's a decent player. We still haven't seen what he is, and he's shined, but he hasn't really been consistent. And Landon, the injury concerns, like I said, were the worry. he wasn't able to stay healthy through his career at Alabama, but and he's come out in some games for the Eagles, but he's been a big plus for us, and he was a second rounder, but they drafted him here in the first round and get a huge talent. All right, Greg Rousseau, another edge guy out of Miami. He's playing, I think, for the Bills, and he's done great. As a great win rate, 16.8%, and pressure the quarterback there in Buffalo. Playing with guys like Von Miller, to help him out, and forget the DT they just extended in the middle, and in Buffalo there. But yeah, he just got a new contract, about like $14 million a season or something like that, $17 million, I think. But yeah, this guy would add a lot to the edge, and they're just talent poor there in Indianapolis and trying to rebuild. Yeah, Richardson might suffer some struggling, but this guy would definitely help out on defense. All right, Michael Carter II. Don't know too much about him, to be honest, but apparently, he definitely did better than Caleb Fairley. I want the Eagles to pick him. I'm so glad they didn't. Big injury where he hasn't been able to stay healthy. Okay, this guy is fast. He's a good slot guy. So yeah, it's interesting that he's one of those guys with measurables, and he plays in the slot, but there's not too many guys that can play that. They drafted a guy a couple of years ago that's now playing with the Giants that wasn't able to. Adoree Jackson, that just wasn't able to to do more than flash. So this guy would get the Titans right and replace that failure of a pick in Adoree. J.C. Horn goes here. Think about this guy in Sauce. He's a top 10 guy, top 10 talent, but he just hasn't been able to stay healthy. So, it hasn't been as bad as Fairley's, damn. But yeah, it's a gamble. So, you have two size corners. Think about him being the second corner. It'd remind you of the Darrelle Revis and Cromartie days, where they had two solid corners. You couldn't really do too much. You could, target Cromartie, but his weakness is he gambled a lot. But this would be kind of like that. All right, the Pittsburgh Steelers, Najee Harris. They picked Harris again because he's been a totem pole. A totem guy, basically. That's what I'm going to call him, a totem pole from now on. But yeah, man, he's hard nosed, tough, big, and he can catch the ball. Talented. All right, so the Jacksonville Jaguars still, a fifth round pick here. Yeah, Talanoa Hufanga out of a USC, and he's been, he hasn't been in the second coming of Troy Polamalu 40 times, scared people off, but was just, a second team All-Pro last year and playmaker, and he hits like a motherfucker. Yeah, the instincts are what get you, and he just pops on film. So they picked Travis Etienne originally, but they go with Hufanga here because Etienne had a 1,000-yard season last year, but backs are easier to come by than playmakers in the secondary are. It's definitely. Safety less so than more so comes around than a corner, but you definitely take up a talented playmaker in the back end there. All right, Greg Newsome. So a decent corner with with good size. He's been a solid guy there in Cleveland, and they stick with it here, so no problem. Kwity Paye, he goes to Baltimore instead of going to the Indianapolis Colts as a lower round pick. But the guy's quick. Kind of with the name Kwity. But yeah, he definitely raised a lot off the edge. We missed playing against him with the Eagles last year. He was hurt, and I'm glad he was out because the dude is effective. All right, Joe Tryon. Yeah, he's a try-hard guy. He's definitely been able to generate pass rush. Like I said, he's a try-hard guy. But yeah, he's better than Peyton Turner, but I couldn't tell you who the hell that is. Travis Etienne, the Green Bay Packers, get a back here instead of picking Eric Stokes, who has yet to get it together. But who knows? Corners can take a while to get acclimated to the league, and he's a fast guy. He's a 4.3 guy, almost 4.2 guy. But and he might be a 4.2 guy. This guy is fast, but just hasn't been able to put it together. He has the tools, but they get another back here. I don't know if they selected. No. They'd have three awesome backs, a three-headed monster with the guy with legs there, and freak me out, the guy's dreads. All right, Buffalo Bills. It's like Boogie Basham. I know he's an edge rusher. I mean, I've heard the name. He brings some explosiveness, but yeah, hasn't been consistent. Kansas City Chiefs. Osa Odi. Yeah, I forget where he's playing, but he's interesting guy. Yeah, he can be effective, and he's growing and he's getting better, but. Yeah, definitely. They could have more, like a guy to bring more pressure next to Chris Jones there. And Pat Freiermuth, a solid tight end for the Pittsburgh Steelers. But, yeah, he's going to, he's more of a blocker, but, a dual threat. I mean, it's kind of a throwaway, but I guess they'd use that versatility there in Tampa Bay. But anyways, that's the list. That's all we're going to look at today. Don't have time for anything else, but we'll get into some interesting Eagles analysis and maybe news tomorrow. Anyways, like I said, you're not even watching, but as always, it's fly, Eagles, fly, and let's motherfucking go. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Thanks for watching. Check me out at Cintron Anime, Cintron Life, or Cintron Laughs, or other social media.